say in the start?
It started right up like it normally did.
It did start right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But I will tell you, the smell was so nauseous.
Yep.
And, okay, now, again, up in the mountains up there at the Rocky Mountains where I was at, it was still cold. And that smell, it was so bad, I actually burnt my throat. And even driving off with the windows down, it took many miles before that smell went away. Now, I will say this, and I'm pretty much done. We managed to find a store about 15 miles away. Now, we stopped in the store. We went in the store. We were really shook up. The guy started talking to us. He was a displanted American that went to Canada, didn't want to go in the military during Vietnam. The first thing he, said, "What are you guys all shook up?" And I said, "We saw a Bigfoot." And he goes, "There's been a lot of reports of Bigfoot. But on the other thing," he said, "did you have bear spray or any protection?" I go, "No, we can't bring guns into your country." And he goes, "Well, there was a lady here about a week ago. We found part of her body that was ate by a bear."
Oh.
So, that I'll be honest with you. Before that happened, I used to go camping every weekend during the summer. I have 8 children, and they were all young at that time. I grew up in a family. We went camping and hunting and backpacking and all this stuff. I was in special forces in the military. I'll tell you, okay, I have not been in any park, forest, campground since. You won't pay me. You couldn't pay me to go into one. That's the end of my story, guys, and I'll let you back to your conversations.
Thank you.
For the Canadian Rockies, my brother and his friends used to go houseboating on the Shuswap area, so Salmon Arm, Kamloops area, in BC every year. And they were actually told that when they left their vehicles on the shore, because it is surrounded by forests, and all these are like fairly small towns, like Salmon Arm isn't very big, and it's very spread out. There's a lot of forest within the city. You are supposed to leave, and it's a tourist trap thing, but people have reported that they are gone when they come back, is underneath your front tire, you leave some type of food or drink for them.
Now, what do you mean underneath your front tire?
Kind of like a gifting site.
Right in front, like a gifting site to protect your vehicle when you're not at it. Kind of behind it and in front of it.
Got it. I see. Wow.
And one of the big things is, so there is a beer in Canada named Kokanee. And on every case, they hide a Bigfoot somewhere on the mountain. And people have been leaving like a single bottle of Kokanee for Bigfoot. And some of our friends still go hiking up in the mountains there, and they leave them in the mountains. No one else is around because you can get hiking permits to go camping out in the wilderness. No one else is around. Beer's gone when they come back.
No, and I wouldn't expect Gary to go up and try this theory, but somebody brought up Kayla brought up in the chat, maybe the aggressive behavior happens when they have their young around. And that would be an experiment you have to try at different times of the season to see if there's a different response. But that's not a tactic I would want to test.
Well, not even just having your young around, but like when they're breeding, like you think of what like elk or moose or deer do when they're rutting.
Right.
I would not go anywhere near a bull moose when it's rutting. That is a bad idea.
Right.
If it smells you, you're dead.
Okay, so we've hit Bigfoot tonight. We haven't hit much on UFOs, and we don't talk hauntings on here too much. I haven't really seen a spike in the haunting side anyway. UFO side, most definitely. Michael, have you seen a spike? And I know I asked this more towards the beginning of the show, but has there been a spike in the last 2 weeks with UFOs?
Yes, and we've talked about the idea that the holiday season, might have something to do with that. Where there's Thanksgiving, there's Christmas, there's times in the holiday season where a lot of people have some extra time off of work that they don't normally have, and there are being at home, having some opportunity to be outside, watching the neighborhood lights and all those kinds of things. So it's possible, almost kind of like the opposite, but the same effect for the 4th of July, when there's a lot of people outside in the middle of the summertime. They're staying up late watching the fireworks and those kinds of things. A big spike typically in that time of year for sighting of UFOs. That it could be that the wintertime and the time off work and people getting together for the holidays and traveling around, and they might see more craft. But there has definitely been a spike during that period of time for sighting reports, specifically these orange fireballs that Megan had just seen. Peter Davenport from the National UFO Reporting Center has been saying for the last 4 or 5 years that that kind of report of those orangish fireballs or lights that travel horizontally across the night sky, and they don't seem to hit the ground like maybe a meteorite would actually explode if it hit the ground or burn itself out. That's another thing. These things just keep going. They traverse the entire horizon to horizon. No sound at all, of course. Some of them will even have the kind of fire coming out the back, almost like they're on fire or have a flame to it. And some don't. Some are just the orange, like you say, basketball-sized looking, anyway, lights that just keep going. And there are also those lights that they're kind of like this. Some people call them spirit lights. You might have heard the term Marfa lights from Marfa, Texas, where they just kind of like pop in and pop out. They float around, kind of like mischievously. So there's those kinds of light phenomena as well. But I have a feeling, this is just my thought, that with all the activity that was going on for the entire period last year, 2018, starting with the New York Times article confirming the existence of UFOs from the Department of Defense and the Pentagon officials, that more and more people, I believe, are being comfortable in actually reporting them now. I think that might be a factor. I think as the UFOI team goes out to seminars and travels around for investigations, we are holding town hall meetings wherever we go, and we are just seeing people come forth in droves, just wanting to tell their own stories now. They're not worried about the woo-woo factor or the snicker factor. They figure that, well, if the mainstream media is talking about this nowadays, I want to share my story. So that could be a factor as well.
And we'll see what happens at Paracon come September, because we might get a whole lot of stories.
Oh, I think that's going to be a fantastic conference that you guys put on, because this is just, it's like it's becoming the head of a major flap is heading our way. And I would imagine that people will want to be involved in the Paracon and want to tell us their stories when we show up there.
I would agree. And, I guess it was about 2 years ago when I found the ARB, the Alien Races book, and Dante Centauri is one who translated it. And he he has like 700 videos on his YouTube channel, but he dropped. He pretty much did his last video and said, okay, I'm done. I found the 72 people I was looking for. I won't be back. Well, what was it, Megan, about 4 months ago he came back?
Yes. Well, yeah, about 3, within the last 3 months, because it was sometime in November.
Okay. So, yeah, and now he's posting videos again, like daily. Now, some would argue and say, well, he's broke now and he wants numbers, and he's never asked for a cent. In the 10 years he's been doing videos and the 10 years he's been talking alien races, he was offered $13,000 from a publishing company to publish the alien races book, and he told him straight up, no, this is free information that the public needs to know about. He could have made money. Okay, so $13,000, that's not a lot. But imagine the royalties, imagine a lot of the other money that he could have made off taking a publishing contract. So could he be after money? I don't think so. I think something's coming up. We're going to be doing a lot of research on it, a lot of research on alien races specifically in 2019. And there's a window of 2017 to 2022 that came up in the ARB that there's supposed to be an alien war going on that we're just kind of caught in the crossfire of. Things we're going to be looking at. And again, too, we're going to be doing a lot more mountain expeditions, mountain exploring, because there's a lot of mystery in the mountains that people haven't even heard of yet, I don't think. Again, with the spirit box in the middle of the mountains, you can potentially catch Bigfoot. We'll see. So, Michael, where can we find UFO I-Team?
Well, they can always find us on Facebook at UFO I-Team with a lowercase I, and UFOiteam.com on the internet as well. So a lot of videos up there as well. We've got some really incredible skywatching gear that we're accumulating this year. Mm-hmm. So we're getting excited here to plan our excursions this year.
Excellent. And we're gonna so next week we're actually gonna be talking Project Blue Book. I haven't gotten to see this show yet because we don't have History Channel on our cable. And I know Megan recorded it. I got to see it because next week it's going to be hard to pick it apart and look for fact if I haven't seen it yet. So this week I got to watch it.
You're going to love it.
It was good.
It's Tuesday.
The project for this week is to dig and find the beginnings of Blue Book so we can do a comparison of historical fact and the TV show. And that'll be next week's show, is picking it apart. And, of course, we've got Roundtable the week after. So I am looking for guests for the show that we can have on. And, again, if you want to schedule the show, we do switch it up occasionally. It's pretty much right on, though, throughout the whole year. And for new listeners, you're going to find S-4 gets controversial. We do pick apart the dark side of the paranormal. We're not after spirits and hauntings constantly like many shows are. We cover off-worlders, aliens, UFO reports, Bigfoot and other cryptids, astral travel, and many other alternative topics, I guess you could call them.
Whales falling from the sky.
Whales falling from the sky, yeah. And yeah, I still, the response you got, I had no clue. I had to Snope it. Snopes.com is one of my sources I go to find out whether a story is fact or fiction. So yes, I was one of the ones that posted under it that it is fake news. Just to clarify that. but in some of the responses you did get, yeah,